The top 16 in the world seeded through to the venue to play their first round matches. We did have qualifiers in Leicester last month. And Sanderson Lamb with the task of trying to topple one of the big guns. They've only played once before, and that was ages ago. 2017 World Open, which Robertson won handsomely 5 frames to 1. But still looking to find his very best form, although it was interesting to hear him say there to Alan McManus that he feels as though his game is in as good a shape as ever. It wasn't quite there for him in terms of winning tournaments last season, but surely it's only a matter of time for him.
Good game, Neil. Thank you. First frame, Neil Robertson to break.
It's Neil Robertson against Sanderson Lamb here at the Brentwood Centre, day 1 of the English Open. Robertson getting us underway, and it's good afternoon to the former world champion, Joe Johnson.
Yeah, good afternoon, Philip. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Sanderson Lamb, he plays at the Northern Snooker Centre in Leeds, along with a lot of other very good players. So he has good practice, match practice routine. Always pushed whenever he's playing somebody. And he has had some good results. He's been in the last 16 of the Gibraltar Open, all that. That was 5 or 6 years ago. He is a very good player. Watched him quite a few times. And as Philip said, you know, Neil Robertson, well, one of the all-time greats, as he said, and his dedication, he said, is as strong as ever. So this is going to be a real test for Sanderson. And that is not the best start, missing the pack of reds.
Neil Robertson 4.
In fact, I didn't think it was a good choice to go into the back of them, because there were always a chance of leaving the 2 reds to the right of the black.
Robertson has made the point that last season he opted to miss a couple of events at the start of it and was always running to catch up, really. Of course, he has this outstanding record of having won a professional title every year since he won his first.
That really is incredible, isn't it, Philip?
Yeah, that was the 2006 Grand Prix, but he hasn't won one this year, so that'll be on his mind for sure. He's very much someone who looks at the stats and the records. He's obviously very proud of what he has achieved in the game.
Touch.
And he's got plenty of opportunities to put that right, of course, with so much snooker coming up. The Wuhan Open, the return ranking event snooker to China next week. Northern Ireland Open, second leg editions, follows after that.
Foul and a miss.
And we've got
Neil
UK Championship, Shootout, Scottish Open, all before Christmas. There's also the International Championship, the second ranking event in China this season in November. Champion of Champions as well for those who've won tournaments. So there's an awful lot of snooker to come between now and the festive season.
Meanwhile, Sanderson Lamb, change of plan, attempting the 2 cushion escape, and didn't really get close enough the first time, and the second time, similar type of shot. But it's interesting that he hasn't decided to run into the back of the pack of 2 cushions, which was very dangerous.
Julian Bell is our referee for this match.
Yeah.
And caught it much too thick, but he may have got away with it.
As Alan mentioned in his interview with Neil Robertson, he's got a very good record in the English Open. Won the tournament 2 years ago. It was a dramatic final as well, played in Milton Keynes. He was 2 down with 3 to play against John Higgins and managed to win it in the decider. The year before, he lost out in similar fashion to Judd Trump in a deciding frame in this event. Of course, Mark Selby is the defending champion. He beat Luca Brissell in the final last year. Selby and Mark Williams, the man who denied in the British Open title last night, will be playing tomorrow here.
Well, that's another mistake from Sanderson. And although he has left a red to the right corner, it could have been much easier. But if this should go in, could score a few here, Neil Robertson.
One.
No mistake.
Undoubtedly one of the best long ball potters of all time, and many people believe that his cue action is the best. Ronnie O'Sullivan shares that view. So technically correct, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, he does spend a lot of time on the practice table to get that straight cue, and it doesn't come naturally. You know, you've got to work on these things. It looks natural. But he'll be the first to say that he puts a lot of work in. And it's interesting to see that he's still got that dedication, although he didn't get good position there, so having just to play the safety, which is another good one.
Yes, I think the one irritant for Robertson is that he's not done more at the Crucible since he won the World Championship, which was 13 years ago now. He's only made one other semi-final there.
I know, I find that incredible, actually. I mean, even the year that he won it, he booked to go home, hadn't he? He'd already checked out of the hotel.
Yeah, he was 11-5 down to Martin Gould in round 2. Assumed it was over. Came back to win in the decider, and the rest is history. His mum flew over from Melbourne to watch him lift the trophy against Graham Dott.
Well, he's left a little tempter here for Sanderson. He could have played that cue ball just directly onto the black cushion and not left any chance of a pot. And it's interesting that he has left this one. Can he be tempted? And this time he doesn't get away with it.
One.
Well, that wasn't the best kiss in the world, was it? Catches it half ball or misses it. And he's nicely on the colour. Very thin snick on the yellow. But he is an attacking player. Having a good look at the brown. Easy to play the snooker, but very easy to escape and not leave anything on. And he is aware of that. Looks like he's going to play the snooker though.
Neil Robertson, 1.
Just a reminder that you can watch all of the matches ongoing on Discovery Plus. Keep up to date with the latest, and indeed rewind and start from the beginning if you've missed anything. Ali Carter playing Jamie Clark this afternoon. Tom Ford, runner-up to Carter in the German Masters final last season, is up against Wan Si-jun. Still matches ongoing in this session, of course. On the other tables, John Higgins, Marco Fu. Fu is now 3-2 up in that one. Jack Lazowski has beaten Matthew Stevens 4-1. Of course, we watch Ronnie O'Sullivan win against Andrew Paget with plenty to spare earlier. Even though O'Sullivan seemed to be troubled by some pain in his arm. There's Marco Fu in the background there. Well, at the moment against Higgins. This evening, our two features on table one, Luca Brissell against Stan Moody, who of course won the World Junior title last season to qualify as a professional. And then it'll be Judd Trump, the former English Open champion, up against the other O'Sullivan, Sean, who's made a 147 this season, but is yet to win a match. So a pretty cagey opening to this first frame. Sanderson Lam has got away with a couple of errors, not left Robertson much. Never easy, is it, when you're not used to the table where the TV cameras are focused on. You've got big crowd as well. Robertson very used to this environment.
Yeah, in fact, it spurs him on, doesn't it? The bigger the crowd, the bigger the occasion, he rises to it. And as you say, Philip, good crowd in. Look at the crowd there. So. No chance for Sanderson Lam. He just didn't get hold of the cue ball enough to finish the right side of the blue. Put everything into the pot.
Yes, it's actually a sellout here today in Brentwood. Of course, Essex has always been a hotbed for snooker. Ronnie O'Sullivan lives less than an hour's drive away. Ali Carter, as mentioned, who hails from Tiptree, is in action
6
this afternoon. Stuart Bingham from Basildon in Essex didn't make it to the televised stages. He lost out in qualifying.
Oh, you can't afford to miss those, Sanderson. No, has he got away with it? I think he has. That red, because I've so easily have gone over the right corner. Of course, once you miss the ball you're playing on, you've no idea where it's going to finish. Another pretty good kiss, that. Had it missed the yellow, this red to the right corner would have been on. And now this is a little bit more complicated. If he plays the cue ball back down the table, he almost certainly leaves a chance at that red near the right corner. Hence just rolling into the cluster. Touching ball is the only thing that could avoid the re-rack.
Neil Robertson has always enjoyed the Home Nation Series, which started back in 2016 in Manchester with this English Open. He won the Scottish Open in the 2017-18 season. Welsh Open the following season, and then, as mentioned, the English Open a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they're going to call it a day, so that was much ado about nothing. It was a very scrappy opening to the match. Sanderson Lam made a number of mistakes which he got away with 14 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Officially, Joe, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, we got to see what each player was queuing like though, didn't we? And as you say, Sanderson was a little fortunate a couple of times, but it was going nowhere, the game, so why not re-rack and start again?
Absolutely, keep the game going. Robertson, as we know, would much rather attack the balls, and that's when he's at his best, when he's going for his shots, when he can get the bunch open and wreak havoc with his break-building skills, which are unrivaled, really. He's now up to 904 career centuries, Robertson, and of course became the first player ever to make 100 hundreds in a season. Only Judd Trump has been able to match that achievement since. Made 50 last season.
Cue first frame. Neil Robertson to break.
So take two after the re-rack. The first frame getting back underway. Robertson getting us underway again, of course. Robertson, one of only 4 players to have made more than 900 centuries. The only players above him, Judd Trump in third, John Higgins in second spot, and of course Ronnie O'Sullivan with over 1,200.
Yes, that red near the middle pocket just hasn't gone far enough. So, chance here. Black available into the left corner.
Robertson has qualified for the upcoming 2 Chinese ranking events in Wuhan and the International Championship in Tianjin. Beat his compatriot Ryan Thomason in both of those qualifying matches. Also made the semi-finals of the Invitational Shanghai Masters a couple of weeks ago, where he lost to Luca Brissell, the eventual runner-up to O'Sullivan. Aside from that, it's been a quiet start. Lost first round of the European Masters in Nuremberg to Wu Yize, and the second round of last week's British Open to Si Jiawei, who of course made a name for himself at the World Championship, coming within a couple of frames of making the final for that record-breaking comeback from Brissell, from 9 frames behind.
Well, he's got a choice here, whether to go into the cluster. Big target as well. He could play for the loose one. Well, I'm not sure what he played there. I assume he played for that red, but he was nowhere near straight enough on it. Good pot though. The red next to the black will go into the left corner, which would then free the black. But can he get to it? Great screwing power there, and couldn't have finished nicer. Very good shot. Can he leave an angle on the black to disturb some of the reds? There could be a possible plant there just above the black into the right corner.
We're going the distance in the match between Marco Fu and John Higgins. Higgins has 1 frame 6 to force the decider. Fu started that match with a century.
Again, didn't quite get into them full enough. But there are a couple of reds that he could go for, both of them difficult. One to the baulk corner, thin cut to the corner. Excellent shot, never touched the sides. Again, the red just above the black will go to the right corner pocket if you can find a path to that red. Could always take the red on that's closest to the right side cushion. Just overdone it.
26.
And now if he does decide to take the red on, there's no guarantee of position. Plenty of risk here. Another great shot.
27.
And deserved to be better on the colour, really. The blue probably favourite. But has to get this one. The reds are spread all over the place. Yeah, there was pressure there, and he didn't really commit to good position. Has left a red on, but it's difficult and it carries its own pressure. Good pot. Stun run through for the black, and now this is the best chance that Sanderson Lamb's had. This is the blue. Not close to it, but not close enough. Oh, that is not a good positional shot. He shouldn't have been anywhere near the cannon.
8.
Just wanted to slide past those two reds. He would have had choice of 3 or 4. No, sir. Oh,
9.
he's fluked one into the middle. He didn't play that. He hit the other red first. And that could be doing him a disservice.
He arrives in Brentwood ranked at 72 in the world. He got back on
50.
the tour last season via Q School. He beat Stephen Hallworth in a decider to earn another 2-year card.
Another good
16.
recovery shot from Sanderson there.
Had a couple of good wins at last week's British Open. He beat Joe Perry and David Grace in getting to the last 32. He also made the winners group of the Championship League, the first ranking event of this new campaign. Won by Sean
23.
Murphy. Murphy will be in action this evening on table 2 against Lu Hongyu.
24. $31. $32.
Starting to get harder. Crowd watching every ball.
.38. .39.
Just could have done with travelling a little further to give himself a nice angle to get to the next red. A little straight.
.46.
19 points the lead.
Sanderson, man. 46.
Yeah, not a bad break. Settles him down a little. He would have needed all 3 reds.
First blood to Juan Sijun in his match with Tom Ford this afternoon. Break of 62 to give Juan the first frame. Ryan Davis is 2-1 up on the 18-year-old wildcard Bradley Cowdroy, who recently captained the England youth team. Still some mileage in this frame, which of course was re-racked after a 14-minute stalemate.
Yeah, that's a pretty good safety though. Just playing the containing safety shot. Now maybe a chance here to get in behind the black. Looking at playing the red onto the blue to hold the red. Just get the right amount of side on the cue ball. Oh, nowhere near enough. This is a better attempt. Yeah, good safety shot there from Sanderson. Neil kind of left himself open to that shot. Yeah, very good pace on the cue ball. Again, this looks pretty good. Just the right amount of side on the cue ball, but I think he can get through to the red. That's over the pocket.
£19 points the deficit, still 51 available.
One.
Needs to miss the brown. Yeah, what a good positional shot that was from Neil Robertson. That was a difficult black. Meant to look easy. Now, can he screw on to the brown? Hold for the blue, which would lead him to the last red.
Nine.
Well, that's a nice little shot there. And it was a good plan not to take the blue, play for the blue, leave the blue there.
12.
And he doesn't have to do much with this red to be on a colour. Oh dear.
Neil Robertson.
And that's just
12.
what thwarted the plan.
Not easy, just overcut the red, and what a chance this is for the underdog to pinch the opening frame. These are the chances when you're playing one of the leading lights that you have to take if you're to have an opportunity to cause an upset.
Yellow, green and brown required, and just short of pace to be comfortable.
6.
But if this goes in, he should be perfectly on the green.
Eight.
Well, it's taken quite a while for this first frame to resolve itself. Of course, we had the re-rack after 14 minutes. Neil Robertson missing that tricky red just now, and it looks to be a very expensive one for him. As Joe mentioned, just this brown required for a nerve-settling opening frame for the underdog. Got back into the frame nicely with a break of 46. And maybe that period where in the end we had the re-rack did Sanderson Lam a bit of good, because it allowed him to get used to the table a bit. He made a few errors in that stretch of play, which ultimately, of course, were academic. But perhaps that just helped to settle him down a bit, get used to
26 and the frame. Sanderson
the
Lam.
match table, the TV table. And so first blood to Sanderson Lam. In this race to 4, he leads 1-0. Just waiting for Neil Robertson to come back into the arena, but an excellent start for Sanderson Lam, winning that opening re-racked frame after Robertson had missed a tricky red along the balk rail. And it's Lam to get us underway in frame 2. 4, of course, is the target in the early rounds of the Home Nations. The Steve Davis Trophy is the ultimate prize on Sunday evening.
Yeah, trademark Neil Robertson. That cue ball just running on a little too far. Well, just a little roll up and it shouldn't be too difficult. Just the playing to the side of the reds. That's a little bonus. But again, can't see anything other than a little roll up behind the brown. Well, he's playing the pot. Brave shot. Again, didn't really commit to it, and you can't blame him. It was a difficult pot.
That extended applause is for John Higgins, by the way, who's managed to pinch that final frame from Marco Fu on the colours. So Higgins comes through.
Foul. 5, Neil Robertson, 4.
John Higgins, who won the Welsh Open as part of the Home Nation series. He's won it many times, in fact.
Quietly as possible, please.
Bit of hubbub from table 2 with that match now over. And that means that next up it'll be Ali Carter against Jamie Clark. Remember, all the matches can be watched on Discovery Plus throughout the tournament.
That's another good safety from Sanderson. Pressure on this next shot now. And the more times you can get your opponent in trouble, obviously, the more chances you get.
Robertson has 23 ranking titles. He's joint 6th in the all-time list, along with Judd Trump. Mark Williams, of course, has now moved to 25 in winning the British Open last night. But he hasn't won one for 18 months now. The Tour Championship was Robertson's most recent ranking title, and that was an extraordinary comeback against John Higgins from 5 down with 6 to play. It's been a while, though, for him. Years from 2016 to present day. Most of them have been the big hitters, the players you would expect to come through. Judd Trump and Mark Selby have both won 4 titles. Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, has won this before. Neil Robertson, Shaun Murphy, John Higgins, Stuart Bingham, former World and Masters champion. So more often than not, the cream has risen to the top, even though the shorter sprints feel like a bigger chance for an upset.
Oh, what about that for a shot? Terrific pot. And deserved to be straighter on this red to the middle,
7.
unless he can get the red to the right corner.
Sanderson, Lamb, 7.
Never a good sign when a player is up off the shot that quickly, and once again Robertson not thrilled with his safety.
Seis pontos para um lado, 12 para o outro, 1-0. Bola branca ali a rondar o canto. Entretanto, Tom Ford e Sijiawi, aliás, Sijiawi não, Yuan Sijun empatados a 1. Sijun esteve na frente. Mais uma bola longa.
Six. Seven. Twelve. Thirteen.
Não me parece que fosse exatamente para a branca tocar na bola vermelha, mas ainda serve. Mas acaba por tirar mais uma vermelha jogável ali para a tabela.
19.
Arriscou, quis ser feliz na última jogada, acaba por não correr bem. Cara de poucos amigos para Robertson.
Sanderson, 24. Foul. A miss. Sanderson, 4. Yeah.
Davis e Caldroy. Empatados a 2 nesta altura. Ainda assim, por níveis, já com 2 encontros a decorrer, o Robertson, Lam e o Tom Ford frente a Yuan Sijun. A seguir entram Ali Carter e Jamie Clark ali para a mesa 2. Recordo que poderá acompanhar qualquer um dos encontros através da app do Eurosport.
Seven. Eight. $15. $16. $23.
Incrível. Dentro do azar acabou por ter sorte, mas é preocupante a forma como o Robertson está a jogar. Não parece ser um jogador com uma pinga de confiança. Tudo em aberto ainda quanto ao vencedor da segunda partida. Esta bola também podia ter, se era para defender a mesma contra a tabela, neste caso para a tabela pequena de topo, claramente faltou-lhe ali 1 metro. Pode jogar aqui com duas tabelas para trás, neste caso da vermelha ali perto da verde. Tabela grande do lado direito e pequena antes de atingir a bola vermelha. Acaba por não fazer a tal segunda tabela, mas a defesa mantém-se, a verde impede que jogue, que o Robertson jogue para a vermelha mais abaixo das 4. E a própria vermelha também impede a passagem da branca para qualquer outra bola. está aqui a sofrer de Robertson do mal que mais tarde ou mais cedo atinge sempre todos os jogadores, que é o problema de Robertson está a ser em atingir o ponto certo da bola a que está a jogar, e por isso mesmo as jogadas parecem disparatadas.
Foul. A miss. Neil Robertson, 4. A little bit. Neil.
Ambos satisfeitos com a posição da bola branca. Vermelha passa pela verde desta vez. Cá está a tal parte de apanhar mal o ponto de bola. A vermelha entra, a branca quase.
Eight. Nine. Twelve. Thirteen. 60.
Bola vermelha fundamental para ter sucesso na segunda partida. E não entra e deixa, que é sempre o pior, claro. São 23 pontos de vantagem para 35 possíveis na mesa. Neil Robertson precisará de todas.
Das ist die endgültige Chance für Robertson, endlich anzukommen in dieser Partie. Vor allem auf dem Scoreboard. Und diese Chance, dieses Ergebnis zum 1:1 hat er sich mehr als verdient. Das war sehr stark gespielt, defensiv und am Ende auf den... Ja, liebe Zuschauer, wir lechzen alle nach dem Befreiungsschlag. War das der entsprechende Schritt für Neil Robertson? Hat sich den zweiten Frame über Schwarz geholt. Und das hat er sich richtig gut vorbereitet. Da sah er bisher am stabilsten aus im kompletten Match. Also es kann ja im Grunde nur aufwärts gehen. Vor allem was das Lochspiel beim Australier betrifft. Da ist noch richtig viel Luft nach oben. Sanderson Lamb wird dieser verpassten Chance ein Stück weit hinterher trauern. Also die Chance war golden, hier auf 2:0 zu stellen gegen Robertson und weiter reinzubohren in diese offene Wunde beim Australier. Stattdessen könnte er ihn jetzt den schlafenden Riesen geweckt haben. Wieder ein Köder, an dem sich Lamb nicht verschluckt. Wieder ein schöner, langer Einsteiger für den Engländer.
Six. Seven. $14. 50.
Fortsetzung über die Mitte möglich. Oder die schwierigere, weil kein Winkel auf die rote unten links.
21. $34. $35. $42. $43. $50.
Ein Novum in dieser Partie, denn bisher war das Topbreak bei 46 Punkten, auch von ihm, von Sanderson Lamb. Zum ersten Mal sind wir hier über die 50-Punkte-Marke gekommen. Schwieriger Ball, kriegt er allerdings wieder gelöst, ohne dabei allzu viel Rücksicht zu nehmen oder nehmen zu können auf die folgende Stellung. Dementsprechend schwarz der nächste schwierige Ball. Auch das löst er gut. Wie weit läuft der Spielball? Akzeptabel.
58.
Nein. Ja, es hat sich angebahnt. Der Weg wurde immer schwieriger. Der dritte schwere Ball war dann zu viel für Sanderson Lamb. Aber 58 Punkte. Das reicht zwar nicht, um Frame sicher zu haben, aber es ist das größte Polster, das er bisher überhaupt hier hatte. Ja, also da muss man nichts dazu sagen. Wenn man ihn auf seinem Stuhl sitzt, weiß man, in welcher Verfassung sich Neil Robertson aktuell befindet. Es ist ein harter Kampf heute für den Australier, vor allem im Inneren mit sich selbst.
Three. Four.
Pink oder schwarz, beide wären schon Frameball. Für Sanderson Lamb. Und rote noch auf dem Tisch, das heißt 67 Punkte, die maximal noch gingen, vorausgesetzt nach jeder roten, Entschuldigung, wird auch schwarz gelocht.
Ten. Sanderson, 9. 10.
Dementsprechend keine Rücksicht auf Verluste. Die 10 Punkte reichen, um den Frameball zu besiegeln. Noch reicht allerdings ein Snooker für Neil Robertson, um hier noch zurückzukommen ins Geschäft. Das ist ja nicht zu glauben. Will nichts gelingen bei Robertson. Ja, so viel hat nicht gefehlt, aber diese Rote, die er noch zusätzlich vom Tisch genommen hat, bringt ja noch mehr Sicherheit. Das heißt, das Foul-Kontingent, das Neil Robertson hier nötig hat, war bei 67 Punkten Rückstand. Und einem Defizit von 8 Punkten braucht er ja schon 3 Snooker. Bei 2 Snookern könnte er noch ausgleichen und für eine Respotted Black sorgen. Den Frame dann so entscheidend. Aber dazu wird er nach jeder roten auch schwarz lochen müssen. Und wieder verschießt er. Und diesmal war es eine wirklich für ihn eigentlich einfache rote. Und dann gibt er den Frame auf. Und Sanderson Lamb damit die Führung zurück. Der Engländer führt mit 2:1. Ja, die Lockerungsversuche bei Neil Robertson. Das geht seit 1,5 Stunden so. 1 also für Sanderson Lamb mit dem Topbreak dieser Partie bisher mit 58 Punkten. In der ersten Chance schon mal eine Grundlage geschaffen. Robertson bekam noch zweimal die Möglichkeit, am Tisch was zu reparieren, konnte allerdings nach 2 leichten Bällen, nach 2 leichten verschossenen Bällen den erneuten Rückstand wieder nicht verhindern. 2:2 mittlerweile zwischen Tom Ford und Xuan Zixun. Ford war zwischenzeitlich mit 2:1 in Führung gegangen. Der Ausgleich in 2 umkämpften Frames dann für Xuan Zixun. Ja, und vergessen wollen wir natürlich nicht das 4:2 im Duell der Amateure zwischen Ryan Davis und Bradley Cowdroy. Damit trifft Cowdroy auf Elliott Slesser. Ja, Entschuldigung, Ryan Davis. Das Match zwischen Davis und Cowdroy übrigens, um das noch vollständig zu bringen, war ein Match der Vorqualifikation. Das Duell gegen Elliott Slesser ist dann das Erstrundenmatch. Also das der Runde der letzten 128 für den Amateur. Da scheint irgendwas Größeres auf dem Spielball zu sein, was gestört hat. Hinweis von Robertson nochmal an Julian Bell, da bitte doch noch genau nachzureinigen. Der sich selbstverständlich sofort darum kümmert, diesen Wunsch zu erfüllen. Mutiger Ball von Lamb und hat dann noch relatives Glück, dass die rote zumindest an der Bande liegen bleibt. Das ist eine gefährliche Safety, denn die rote links unten von Rot, die geht in die Ecktasche. Problem für Robertson, er kommt dann nicht gut an den Spielball. Mit dem Spider von oben. Ja, Sinnbilder für das heutige Match von Robertson gab es einige. Lässt sich da diese lange Reihe der Fehlversuche auch noch mit einreihen. Lamb wird innerlich sein Glück bisher wohl kaum fassen können. Auch wenn es noch keinen wirklichen Grund zum Jubel gibt, denn er führte nur 2:1. Aber kriegt hier die nächste Chance.
8.
Durchbruch auf der Tour ja nie so richtig geschafft. Sanderson Lamb seit 2015, als er auf die Tour kam. 2017 dann mal das Tourticket verloren, hat sich aber direkt über die Q-School wieder qualifiziert. Das gleiche Schicksal eilt ihm nochmal im Vorjahr und auch da ging es über die Q-School wieder zurück für Sanderson Lamb. Also wieder hat er das Ticket für 2 Jahre in der Tasche. Und das wäre in jedem Fall ein Ausrufezeichen für ihn hier.
24.
Hat eine lange Zeit eine Trainingsgruppe gehabt mit Oliver Lines und David Grace. Ich weiß nicht, ob das heute noch aktuell ist, aber das war eine sehr intensive Trainingsgruppe, in der man sich gegenseitig sehr gut unterstützen konnte. Ja, die hat sich gewehrt.
32.
Und es ist ihm noch nicht allzu oft vergönnt gewesen, die großen Namen der Szene, die Top-10-Spieler zu schlagen. 2015 ist ihm das mal gelungen beim Paul Hunter Classic in Fürth, also einen gewissen Mark Allen. Ja, das war der Mann, der letzten Saison schlagen konnte. Die aktuelle Nummer 3 der Welt. Also ich denke, es wäre sicherlich sein Top-3-Highlight, wenn er hier und heute Lee Robertson besiegen könnte. Und wer fragt am Ende schon danach, wie das zustande gekommen ist?
40. $46. One. Six.
Robertson's highest break of this match remains just 27. Opportunities like this, with balls open, have been few and far between, so even if he can't win this frame, which seems unlikely, knocking a few in won't hurt. In all probability, he's going to have to win 3 on the bounce from here to avoid an early bath in Brentwood.
Yeah, if you could leave that red next to the pink, the one closest to the pink, as the last red, you could play a very tight snooker in behind the pink and try and put that red nearer colour. Thinking ahead there.
$22.
Yeah, he had to play it with a lot of left-hand side on the cue ball, because he's got to take the black to keep it at 3 snookers. Tough shot this to hold the white ball for the red. Good pot. Now, can he get this cue ball tight in behind the pink?
30.
That's a pretty good snooker. And he's got the red next to the yellow, which every chance of leaving a free ball here. And that would make a massive difference. Very clever shot that from Neil Robertson. Well played. Well played. That was difficult to hit.
The red stays out, but it's a long way back now for Robertson in this frame. He needs 4 snookers from here of the 4-point variety. In the other match ongoing at the moment, Tom Ford is level with Juan Sijun at 2-all. Ford, who made the final of the German Masters last season, losing to Ali Carter. He's matched the highest break of the tournament so far, 140. James Cahill making the same break in qualifying, his highest as a professional. £5,000 bonus for the best break of the week here in Brentwood. Neil Robertson soldiering on in his bid to get the 4 snookers that he needs.
Well, that's just what he didn't want. And he's conceded the frame.
It was always a long shot there for Robertson, needing 4 snookers, and sure enough, Sanderson Lamb, helped by an excellent break of 74, is on the cusp of a big upset here. He leads Neil Robertson 3-1. And that was after the frame just now had gone, really. In the end, he was chasing 4 snookers, couldn't get them, so 3-1 down to the world number 72. Sanderson Lamb in their second meeting. Their first was 6 years ago. That was a very comfortable win for Robertson, but today anything but comfortable for the former world, UK and Masters champion. And he's going to have to do it the hard way now and win the last 3 of the match. Stuart Carrington awaiting the winner in the round of 64.
Thank you. Frame 5. Neil Robertson to break.
Well, that is a very attacking safety. Playing off the reds thick, opening the reds up, putting his opponent under real pressure here. He's saying, now if you miss now, it's end of match. Play a poor safety now, could be end of match. A little short pace.
Foul and a miss. Sanderson Lamb, 4. There, yeah. Yes. Foul, a miss.
Now, can he see a red full ball?
4.
If he can, he's under big pressure.
Okay. Got to warn you, Neil, if you fail to hit the ball on, you'll lose the frame. Okay.
Not quite in the right spot, as you can see there from the still frame. But he's got to hit one, otherwise he's lost the match.
And the reason why I didn't play that originally is that you don't know where the reds are going to go when you come off of them thick. If you push one right over the corner, your opponent every chance of winning the match.
quite a lengthy match for the 4 frames played. We've had a couple of sizable breaks from Sanderson Lamb in the last couple, but overall getting on for 22 minutes a frame on average. Of course, we also had the 14 minutes before the initial re-rack in frame 1, which doesn't count towards the average frame time. Indicative that it's been quite a scrappy match in the main, and that has not played clearly to Robertson's strengths. But this is a different situation. Nice long red and a chance to finally strike up a rhythm.
Yeah, this was a good, confident shot. Do his confidence a world of good. He's not ideally on the black, you've got to say. He should pot it, yep, but he's not ideal on it.
Eight.
ATP Beijing for Paris.
Nine. Sixteen. 32. 33.
It was only 2 seasons ago that Robertson won 3 ranking titles. This English Open, the Players' Championship for the top 16 on the one-year ranking list, and then the Tour Championship for the top 8, his most recent ranking title, 18 months ago. But looking for his first title
48.
in 2023.
49. 56. 57.
Yeah, just showing us that once he gets in around the balls, Neil Robertson, he's still got it. He's still perfect position. And that's what I like about Neil Robertson. Now, has he just travelled too far? Judging by his reaction there. I don't think he played the cannon, I just think he played for the red to the left corner. But it looks to be end of break, and this frame is still live.
Sometimes this game tests your patience to the limit. Just when Robertson was finally finding something approaching his A game, positionally it goes wrong, and the frame's still not won, with 83 still on the table.
Yeah, and like all good players, Philip, he's just thinking about the safety shot. He's accepted he's out of position. Now he's thinking about where can I put the cue ball where my opponent can't pot a ball.
64.
Well, he could have done with that cue ball a little closer to the cushion, but he has put a red safe, or safe-ish. And the reason, look at this.
And you can understand the exasperation. It's been a tough afternoon for Robertson. It's been akin to walking through treacle, this match, really, for him, right up until this frame when finally it started to happen for him, but not over the line.
Oh, now a chance to put Neil Robertson in all kinds of trouble here.
Green ball. Sanderson
That
land.
is a difficult snooker. There's lots of reds to hit, but how do you get this one safe?
That's the problem, isn't it? The table's pretty open.
Well, I'd suggest anything but move that red off the left side cushion.
Neil Robertson with a 64 break, by far and away his best of the afternoon, but not a decisive one. Ran out of position and now in a fiendish snooker. That was the problem, not hitting a red but leaving it safe, which he certainly hasn't done. So a chance for Lamb to get right back into this frame.
And he very nearly brought that safe red off the cushion there. A little thicker, that red would have come off the cushion and would have all been there. As it is, there's still that safe red and a safe-ish green.
Thank you. One.
Well, he could bring that red off the cushion here, but very dangerous to play that type of shot. No guarantee of being on a colour if he does play it.
Nine. 14. $15.
Yeah, just got into the cue
22.
ball a little bit too much screw on the cue ball. Wanted to be straighter on this red.
23.
And again, he's played that very well, nudging the pink towards the middle. Now, where does the pink go when it's respotted?
$29.
Highest available, which in this case is the only available. The green.
Well, just 26 points in the game now. Neil Robertson himself needs that safe red. So he's back in it. One loose positional shot. That's all it was from Neil Robertson. He was on a maximum break and he was looking very good. Now that is a lot too thin.
Oh.
So another half chance here. Sanderson Lamb. Well, his only chance here is if the black has come to save him, or that red on the left side cushion.
One.
.23 the lead, but still 35 left, so it's all about the last red. Ali Carter still 3-1 up on Jamie Clark on table 2. Carter has a 32-point lead in frame 5. And Wan Sijun has now moved 3-2 up on Tom Ford.
Yeah, that's a good shot to play, actually.
Neil Robertson. One.
Push the blue safe. Every chance of the snooker as well. Better than the 5 points. black looks to be in the path of the cue ball coming off the black cushion, hitting the red. So this isn't easy at all. That's an excellent hit. But where's it going to finish? Well, he's delighted. He may be in trouble again next shot, but he's delighted to have escaped that one. He just missed the black by a whisker. Well played. Well, this time not quite so hard. One cushion escape, but it's what you leave from these snookers. Pushing it towards the pocket. So another good chance here for Neil Robertson. Pull one back.
The red is all he'll need. Lamb will need a snooker if it goes in.
He's so good at those type of shots. Just one snooker though, so still got to be careful.
He's managed to pot 5 out of 7 from long range.
Yeah, Robertson.
Bit of extra insurance, pushing the black into an awkward spot. So it's looking like 3-2.
It's close, if it's hard enough.
Two. Sanderson lamb, 2.
And now the pink safe as well. So surely this frame has now gone the way of the former English Open champion, Neil Robertson, with his first break of substance of the match. 64.
Yeah, Robertson 3 and the frame.
Frustrated to run out of position at the time because he couldn't quite kill the frame off. But Sanderson Lamb has conceded, and so Robertson is now 1 down with 2 to play, trailing 3-2. So Neil Robertson keeps his English Open hopes alive, helped by a break of 64. Not quite a frame-clinching one, but he got the job done in the end. Sanderson Lamb, though, still on the cusp of a big upset on this opening day in Brentwood. 3-2 up, 1 frame away from victory. In the last few moments, Ali Carter has come through at the expense of Jamie Clark, who started the match with a century, but Carter then produced a series of big breaks himself. We'll be hearing from him in due course. Just a reminder this evening, Luca Brissell against Stan Moody and Judd Trump against Sean O'Sullivan. That's the menu on table 1. Joe, you know young Stan Moody very well. How impressed have you been with his progress?
Well, as soon as I saw him when he was, I think he was 11 when he came to my coaching academy, and well, he's knocked the ball off the table there, trying to force that cue ball for a colour. Yeah, Stan, first time I saw him was about 11, and I just thought, the only person that I'd seen as good at that age was Paul Hunter. I never actually saw Ronnie O'Sullivan at 11, 12. I'm sure he was as good as what Paul Hunter was, but I'd never seen anything like it, and Stan Moody was in that class. And 5 years later now, he's on the tour, and I feel sure, absolutely sure, that he's going to make it. And a lovely young man he is too.
Meanwhile, Robertson eyeing the possibility of getting back in here and making another sizable break. Just signs that Robertson is getting his game together. The first few frames were a little bit arduous for him. Even the one he won on the final black was a struggle.
Yeah, having said that, you know, Sanderson Lamb had a chance at the red there, which he knocked off the table. Look at that for a shot. Wow. Anybody hurt? Yeah, he's got a round of applause. It was late coming, but he didn't hold back there. Look at the reds. Watch the reds here. Spread all over the place. Now, is he on one? I think a red's come to block the path to the red to the middle, but this one to the corner. Yep, it will go.
9.
This is what proved elusive for Robertson in the first few frames of this match. The opportunity to score heavily with the balls open and inviting. More often than not, colours were getting tied up, and it was a bit of a battle to produce anything of substance, but things seem to be changing now.
Yeah, the kiss is okay. Leaves him on a red to the left corner, and may be able to get to the black if he wishes. Decided to play up for one of the colours down the back end of the table.
12.
Always good to get the blue back on its spot, although it's just travelled a touch too far, but still may choose to play the blue.
This is the only match now remaining in the afternoon session, with Juan Sijun having just completed a 4-2 victory over Tom Ford.
$15. 16. $21. $22.
Yeah, he started to cue in the last frame, didn't he? When he was on that maximum.
29.
Ran out of position on 64. But you could see that his whole attitude had changed, and that was down to knocking that good long red in.
30.
That boosted his confidence.
$35. $36. $43. $44.
Could have done with being just a little bit closer to the black there. And that certainly affected the position on the next red. It's not ideally on either of these reds now. One to the middle or the corner.
Change your plan. Still with work to do to clinch the frame. And the red proves elusive.
Robertson,
So,
51.
a break of 51. I think Robertson indicating, as John Higgins did after his tight victory earlier against Marco Fu, that it's pretty hot in the arena. Maybe that's just making him feel uncomfortable out there. He certainly hasn't been himself today. But Sanderson Lamb can't pop the red, so still 75 available. Match time of 2 hours, which doesn't include the 14 minutes that we had before the re-racked opening frame. Quite a lengthy frame average of in excess of 22 minutes. This one's been only going 9. Robertson's going to need red colour red to make the frame safe. The table remains quite open though. There's nothing in the way of a safe colour glued to a cushion to offer some insurance, so he'll still be wary of the danger in this frame, even though he's well in front.
Now that's a clever shot, isn't it? Pushing the black to the cushion. That makes things a lot more difficult for Sanderson. Very clever. Good pot. So, in with the chance. And the only ball really safe is the black, but the rest of them are in awkward positions. I'd like to get the pink back on its spot if you could.
6. Seven.
Another good pot. Just travelled too far for the red that he nudged off the cushion. This one to the middle, a lot more difficult. Good shot.
40.
.41 the difference. Doesn't need to entertain the black.
$20. $21. $26.
Another good pot. Down. Does he have the angle to move this red away from the cushion or drop him behind it? These are the decisions. Does he play to bring it off the cushion? Play to move it. Yeah, nicely done. He's given himself a chance at the red.
32.
No, too high.
Sanderson man, 32.
He'd done the work, but he wasn't left with an easy red for sure. Another good pot.
1.
Well, again, not the kindest of kisses. 24 points the difference, so if he takes a green, 27. If he takes a brown, 28. Snooker's required. Doesn't have to play for the yellow. Good pot. Wait for it, wait for it. Well, snooker's required. Snooker got
5.
28 the margin with the colours left, but Robertson inconvenienced by the blue.
Robertson, 5.
So 1 snooker for Lamb, otherwise it's going to be a final frame decider. Last match of the afternoon.
It was a very good brown that Robertson potted there. Plenty of pressure on it. And there's the snooker. Well, he's got to think of a way here of trying to hit the yellow for sure, but leave the cue ball in a position where Sanderson can't pot the yellow if he does miss it. He can't afford to miss the yellow and leave it on. Well, that's the snooker.
Foul. Sanderson, Lamb, 4.
He can't go back because it was at a snooker required stage. But now maybe a chance to bring this black off the cushion and play a good safety. And now it really is anybody's game. Yeah, excellent yellow. I think he can hit it just. Oh, he's looking at the potting angle, so yeah, you can see enough of it. Does it go past the black? There's the answer.
2.
Wow. On another day, he'd have been on the green.
.22 the deficit, 25 left.
Sanderson, Lamb, 2.
Caught it a little bit too thin. So this is another chance. Difficult green, for sure. I feel sure I'll be going for it. And that's another beauty. Needs to slow down. Now it's in your hands, Sanderson.
What a turnaround in this frame. Neil Robertson looking a bit fed up, and no wonder. He was looking good for 3 each. Lamb needed a snooker. But now, what an opportunity for one of the best wins of his career.
He tried to hold it the right side of the blue, but didn't manage it. So one good shot here. Black's over the pocket.
Plenty of pressure on this pink, though.
You called it. You called it. Wow. This is why we love snooker, isn't it? Because it brings all kinds of emotions out.
Well, if Neil Robertson goes on to lift the Steve Davis Trophy on Sunday night, he'll look back on this match and this frame and that moment as a turning point.
Will he play the double?
It's all he needs, the pink.
Is it the treble? Too high. So Sanderson lives again. Well, this is a tricky safety shot. If he plays the pink up and down, there is a possibility of the double kiss.
Neil Robertson, I'm sure, just delighted to still be out there. He must have thought the game was up just now. Crowd certainly engrossed in this. It's not been the most fluent match, but it's certainly engrossing. And a dramatic end to this 6th frame. Will it be the last, or is there still one more to come?
Well, again, is this worth taking the double on? Maybe able to leave the cue ball near the baulk cushion. Would be an easy black, full length of the table. The alternative is a good safety. He could play a good safety, clip the pink back to the baulk cushion. Well, for me it was a poor safety last shot round from Sanderson Lamb. Left himself in trouble now. Could have cut the pink back to the baulk cushion and put distance between the balls.
And a perfect one from Robertson. A full 12 feet here and the pink glued to the baulk cushion. Sanderson Lamb still, I'm sure, thinking about what might have been just now. Will he get a better chance?
Well, that's okay. The double is not on from there. Well, I said it wasn't on, but it was on. Now, does the pink pass the black? I think it does, so he gets another chance.
The match once again out of Robertson's hands.
And it's there.
What a moment for the world number 72. Back on the tour at the start of last season. A big upset on the opening afternoon of the English Open. Neil Robertson, 23-time ranking event winner and former English Open champion, bows out at the first hurdle. Sanderson Lamb scores a famous win by 4 frames to 2. A major disappointment then for Neil Robertson. Never quite found his game today. The first couple of frames in particular were scrappy, and just when it was looking as though he was beginning to rediscover the usual touch, Sanderson Lamb stepping in with a dramatic victory in that 6th frame on the final black. Having missed the pink just previously, he's done well to regroup there and knock the pink in at the 2nd attempt, right in the centre of the hole. So Robertson's English Open ends early, and Sanderson Lamb can look forward to a 2nd round meeting with Stuart Carrington. What a frame, Joe, and what a victory for the world number 72.
Very exciting.